Hey guys, it's ViewMasters Reactions, and we're back with Campaign 2, Episode 10, Part 2. We just got done with the exclusive Patreon hour, and we fought a lot of rats. Giant, well not giant, they were armored, shit-covered rats. Basically wrapped up with their matted fur and all the glass and wood and broken shit in the sewers, matted with feces and blood, and we're punching them and our knuckles are getting ripped up. I can't believe didn't get infections. I mean, we were poisoned when we sliced them open. They just exploded into what I'm assuming is really strong, intense methane gas of some sort, poison. Liam explained it in a better way, but I said how if you live amongst shit all the time and you breathe it in, there are stories. You can literally look it up. I remember in New Jersey when I was a kid, like I said, I worked and I still work at transfer stations, dumping yards, facilities where you don't want to smell things often. And I'm like immune to it. But I remember warning signs at methane plants, shit factories, I used to call them, where all the human waste goes. They have had cases where people have literally been found dead because they inhaled too much methane gas and didn't take breaks. Because at a point, you just stop realizing, you like zone out. Now that sounds crazy maybe to some of you, but I understand that because I go to these garbage dumps all the time and people that I bring will literally throw up and gag and be like, how do you do this? And I really don't think about it. And yes, I can still smell it if I think about it, but it's like my daily day and maybe it's doing harmful things to me, but I'm only there for like 30 to 40 minutes at a time and only like maybe twice a week, if that. So it isn't like if you live there, like the rats are living in it and part of it. And there's guys that work at these facilities 9 to 5. So it isn't like I'm endangering myself. It's just if you're there for a long period of time, that's what's going to happen. These are the rats that we are fighting. We kill 7 of them. We barely took damage. Yasha got a little banged up. The rest of us were fine. We cured her wounds. I feel like she's almost back to normal. Either way though, Yasha is our hardcore barbarian. She has 34 hit points. I believe that is the highest of everybody. So we continue further down. We encounter some webbing. The episode's called Webs and Waste. So we already had the waste. That was the rats covered in crap. Now we have the webbing. The webbing has to be a giant spider. We have still not confirmed this yet. And Matt made it a point to either misdirect us or foreshadow possibly it not being a spider. I saw Liam and I believe Jester and maybe some others, but them specifically said it's probably a giant spider, and I agreed since I saw webbing. But Matt could be misdirecting us just so we don't assume the logical, the obvious. I hope it's something else. We saw there was a small sack and 2 large sacks. The small sack had a rat. We did not jostle anything because Talzin cut it ever so slightly with his fire sword, his scimitar. Liam has a spell that could have a servant, an invisible servant, walk over and maybe kind of check what the other 2 sacks are, because if it's not humans, we'll put it this way. Even if it's humans and they're not alive, we're incinerating these sacks. So let's find out what happened. We're going to jump right in. We only have about 18 minutes left before the break, and then we'll talk after, and then we got the live stream on Friday. You guys want to be way ahead on all the shows on the channel, seasons ahead of what you're seeing, full unedited episodes, the Patreon links at the end. That's where you get the full unedited Patreon hour. That is where you will probably get bonus stuff that we will eventually do and other things. There are dozens of exclusives you haven't seen on YouTube yet. Check the link. If not, Campaign 2, Episode 10, Part 2.
The thing is, if we kill them, I mean, we're putting them out of their misery. You know?
We are, see, now they're talking about the bodies.
Giant pus sacks if they survive.
They're probably
giant.
They just were wrapped up like 5 minutes ago and they're totally fine.
It could be the case. I've seen it happen almost every movie.
It's not going to be able to open these things.
No, I know.
That's what I was thinking. I should have said it before. Would his servant be able to do anything? What is he going to do, poke them? Then it'll bring the spider or whatever.
If they start moving, this thing's gonna...
Well, it knows that they're alive.
But then we'll get eyes on it.
So I'm sure they wiggle every now and then anyway.
Yeah.
That's also true. Good call.
We burn some
See?
people that are still alive,
Think
and then we can set it
together.
all on fire.
I like these ideas. It probably would maybe assume...
I pull a stick
Do it, Caleb.
out of
All right,
my
let's do
coat
it.
And I hold it between thumb and pinky like this, and there's a string wrapped around it, and I take my fingers and I pull along the string, which begins to glow a faint gold glow. And a being is same height and about same skinny-ass proportions as myself appears before me.
I love it.
Well, it does not appear.
It doesn't appear. You tell me because you're the dungeon master.
It's unseen.
Yeah.
It's unseen. It
But
doesn't
you sense
appear.
its presence arrive. You watch.
You sense it
you
arrive.
watch
Awesome.
as
So it's the
the
it's like the invisible
on the dry dust.
Three Amigos,
floor of
the invisible
sewer,
swordsman.
sewer, where it's the temperature is dropping.
I
There's
should.
little
I was
humidity
literally
in this
gonna wear
area.
my El Guapo
You
shirt,
watch as there are two small.
but I
pools of
wanted
dust
Frumpkin.
on the ground, and you.
It's
sense
the
that
invisible
the
swordsman.
servant is around.
Someone's got to point out.
Can I push it?
They're all my age or around my age.
You put
I
your hand
can't believe
forward
they're
and
not
it's like
pointing out the invisible
hitting the
swordsman.
back of someone's back, but there's nothing there, and it kind of catches you off guard. You're like, what the heck? But it's like it feels somewhat amorphous, like there's a heavy wind pushback for a second, but there's no wind and there's no whipping of force around your arm. It's very strange.
I think your unseen servant farted on me.
Your unseen servant has passed wind, my
Rats
friend.
have already started. So, Schmidt, I want you to go to
Schmidt.
these
His name is
larger,
Schmidt.
bundles.
What about
and just
Schmidt?
Give him a little pokey poo.
Schmidt is his name. Schmidt, go give him a little poke. I want a Schmidt.
goes
Is there Schmidt things, guys?
You sense this. Past the first.
I want to
weapon
know
barrier,
because
there's
it's an
a
invisible
small
servant. What does he look like? Is
plastic
there
space between it and the
things
wall
about Schmidt?
to the next one, the one that you saw, which encompasses the entirety of this wall. There are like small, 1 foot wide sections of it along the upper part of the wall where there is a gap, but most of it's just pure web across. There are 2 of them there, and
I don't know if I'm hearing something in my
reveal it. Otherwise, it's going to
neighborhood because I live in the mountains, or if it's like their sound effects. But it was like a very ominous sounding thing.
Sure. I have to stay within.
I think it's
60
them.
feet Of Schmidt. So.
Right. So the 2 of you
Within 60 feet of Schmidt.
the first barrier to see the second. As Schmidt approaches the
Schmidt
second
appears.
barrier, you watch as one of the masses, which does appear to be humanoid in size, shakes slightly, doesn't react. The other one shakes slightly, and you watch as an arm kind of limply falls from the side of it, some of the webbing tearing. And as it does, you hear a metal sword ping, cling,
Oh
around. You
God!
see, what looks to
See,
be
didn't anticipate that.
a bracer that once belonged to a crown guard.
Matt even kind of foreshadowed it because he said when we did it to the rat limply fell out and its head kind of went like
Drifts on
bleh.
its own in your direction.
So he kind of foreshadowed they might just fall
The
out.
giant spider thing heard that.
What?
Probably.
What did you say? I did not understand
I
your
said I
accent.
wonder if the giants.
You.
She wonders if the giant.
The cat is trying to get out. It's adorable. It just did though. It just did. It just did.
Well, not moving.
Burn that shit!
Burn that shit.
We'll come and we'll burn that shit too!
Yeah. Well, see, this kind of chaos I don't mind. I agree. Let's go
You're about
nuts.
10 feet from it.
They look pretty dead, don't they?
They look pretty dead. Like
All
10,
right.
10, 15
They're dead. Fire starter. Let's do it. They're already dead. We're good. We figured it out. We checked. We were responsible, caring people.
Get into some sort of position so we're not
Yeah, do
all
you have any
clumped,
Yeah.
specific
clumped together.
order you guys want to maintain?
Let's all
4 on
perimeter.
one side and 4 on there, 3 on the other.
Yeah, everyone go around in a perimeter as far apart as you can while making a solid perimeter. But then again, let's do it. Perimeter.
Front of the other side of
I mean, unless it's like really far apart.
Behind Ford.
All right.
I guess I'll go with team.
Yeah, all right. 2 teams.
Wow, fucking betrayal. Okay.
Fucking betrayal.
I'm trying to split it
Is it
out.
Molly and Ford at the front of the other group?
Yeah, because he didn't go. Because Bo didn't go with Ford and Just. Obviously, he's
So now
joking.
goes behind Caleb. And then we have Ford and Molly on the other side with Jester behind them.
Yep. A little bit of magic on both sides.
That honestly is the way to split it.
Okay.
You need a little bit of attack
So
power
you
and a little
just
bit of
move
magic.
around
So that was
that
smart.
barrier, get to the
Smart.
next, like, 10,
That was
15 feet up,
smart
where
of
there's the next
Bo.
larger barrier of webbing, and the 2 unmoving humanoid forms wrapped within.
I can do this from 120 feet away. Once every 6 seconds, I'm going to use Firebolt. So I would just go and hit them both.
Okay.
6
So
seconds apart.
All right.
they both impact, and you watch as the bodies kind of shift. There's a burst of flame. Some of the webbing kind of ignites and burns and curls away, but it looks like the burst of the flame is so instantaneous it's not enough to immediately ignite the webbing.
Oh. Ooh.
There was a burnt mark on them, and none of
Oh.
the forms move or
I
react.
thought it
to
just
impact.
incinerated
the
the
web kind of
bodies and
shifts
died out,
shakes
but
for a
no.
moment before it eventually comes to rest again.
Just as a test to the one on the right, I do it again.
Okay, you do a second time. It burns a little more, and you can now see as the webbing burns away in that section, you can see what looks to be the Crown's Guard armor chest plate. That is now a little bit charred.
So it was
Yeah.
Crown's Guards.
Okay, well, he's dead.
He's
Should
dead.
I just keep chipping away?
Do we see any spiders?
Yeah. I'll help Are we moving forward, or we're still?
guess we
They're all
can.
still in the back,
Scott-
but you can move forward if you want
Well,
to
I
move forward.
mean, this is every 6 seconds, so I could just stand here for a minute and just keep going and not get close.
Yeah.
Hey, now, will you do me a favor and make sure nothing sneaks up behind us?
That's cool. I like what Liam said there. He could just literally keep the fire at bay for a
30 or
minute,
40
6
if
seconds
that's what it
between
takes. I'll
rounds.
focus on one. And
Yeah.
Just keep burning it away.
Okay. So
And I'm gonna go 15 feet behind.
And he's focusing. Oh my God, he's literally. Oh, that's awesome.
fine. Make a perception check, just so you can watch. With disadvantage, because unfortunately you're away from the torchlight to do so.
That's a 1.
Okay.
That's
So
a
keep and watch. So as one after the other, the webbing is kind of shaking and shifting. Eventually, after 4 or 5 blasts, the web begins to catch fire, and you watch as the red and orange flames kind of expand and begin to immolate both of the unmoving bodies. The webbing then burns away and eventually begins to detach from the weight and the loss of tensile strength. And that whole wall kind of shifts and collapses to the ground. Both of the bodies hit the ground. The webbing burns away. It's not enough to catch the bodies on fire, though it does.
I was gonna
burn
say, the
exterior. If
bodies
you look, they're both
probably
in,
won't burn because they probably
various
been
stages of
sucked
decay.
dry.
The skin you can see as you kind of approach a little bit, Yash, to take a look. The cheeks within their helmeted heads
Sunken
are
in and so
sunken
yeah,
and sallow,
it
with
sucked
curled
them
back.
dry. So there's, I mean, it's
They are
just like
drained of any sort of
bone. It's gonna be hard to
internal
burn.
life force or blood.
Can I poke around with the tip of my sword and see if there's any like money or something in their pocket?
Liam did say that. Liam's like, good news, guys. We could always check them for money if they're dead. I mean, it is a selling point for the thieves.
Prodding around, yeah, there is. I mean, they
And coin won't
blanks
burn.
both of them have
And they
coin
didn't
purses
burn, so it don't
on their-
matter.
on their belts that are kind of folded into their belt, as protective measure. But they both look like they were caught in a state where they would be willing to travel or go anywhere to spend money.
Take him. Yeah, well, how much we talking?
So you begin to
Crowns
pull from
guards?
their bodies. What else are you guys doing?
Maybe they got good
Take
coin.
their weapons. I bet.
I would take their weapons. I would take their coin.
Or we can
I mean,
see
hey,
the Crown
let
Guard.
someone get use out of it. We'll sell
So
it.
do they have like a dog
or
tag?
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
Kind
question.
of glancing about as you're inspecting the body.
Do Crowns guards have dog tags?
Identifying tag to them. There isn't an elaborate system of maintaining Crowns Guard members or identifying.
I would figure so much. I don't recall ever such thing in like those kind of shows, like Game of Thrones. I don't remember there being ways to
Can I
check
take their helmets and put
members
them
of
in
the
my pink
guard
bag?
and stuff.
Sure, easy enough to do.
What about their weapons?
As a matter of fact, they would
They look like they're
often
long swords.
use that to switch places
They're
and
well kept, not used.
take
You look on the
advantage of
blade and there are
situations.
barely any signs of indentation.
Does it say anywhere property of the Crown's Guard?
No, but they are uniform design I mean, they're not
So
like
you
very
know.
elaborate ornamental. They're just the Crown's Guard weaponry
Is
are
known.
pretty much designed or provided by a
so everyone will know
similar
you're selling Crown's Guard
blacksmithing technique,
swords.
so they all feel like they're uniform to a certain degree.
10 on the medicine check.
That's enough. I mean, it's not too hard to see as you look over each of the two bodies. Both of them have heavy puncture marks.
Spider
either right in the
bites.
back of the neck on one of them, or the other one has it right under the front of the chin.
Could it even be
And
connected
the puncture
to?
marks are about that wide, about 2 inches across on each side, where
Big
the
ass
skin and flesh
spider.
has been kind of bubbled and pushed away.
If
from
it's
the
a
side,
spider, could it
and
be
they go
like
very deep.
vampires? Or, but why would vampires do webbing?
Big fangs, probably
Pinchers.
fucking pincers. You know. Yeah. So
Is it-
watch your shit.
That obvious. Like I mean, I just want to know what it is because I feel like everything's pointing at spiders and maybe it's a
She just stands
misdirect.
still for a second and looks around.
'Cause-
Do I hear anything?
Make a perception check.
Oh, in my sleep.
Because I'm trying to think like the Briarwoods, I
don't
assume
hear
were
anything.
vampires, but they weren't necessarily vampires.
Standing on now.
They were like
I mean, there would have
The
been
whispered
some
one,
kind of general
people- yeah,
webbing towards the base of this, but you've burned away that central area. And as you kind of step forward, you look beyond where that burning mark is, and there is a stark left turn. It curves to the left, and looking around the side, it curves again to the right, maybe 20 feet beyond that, and you see another webbing barrier.
so we got to
There
go
looks
down
to
like
be
a tunnel.
3 different figures, and you see now there is another figure that is not part of the webbing barrier, but is just webbed to the wall right next to it.
But the stone is
Unimpeded to the
Yeah.
point where it'd be an issue. You do see,
tacky.
no, there's, I mean, you feel a little bit of stickiness when you step around from just general fallen bits of stray webbing strands and such, but nothing that would impede
All right,
your movement.
good question.
There's another
Like we're running away and we get stuck.
You can go try to either the one behind you or the one ahead.
Yeah, I want to try doing it and see if it like sticks to the weapon
To
or
the one
if it
ahead?
cuts through. Yeah.
Okay. So you come forth to the web there in front of you, to where there you see the two other figures that are kind of masked. They're both humanoid, and you now look over at a close glance. There's a third one that's small. Looks to be another one of the rat creatures that was caught in there. You carve through. Go ahead and make an attack roll.
Now, is this going to jostle the web or something? Because we've never, like,
hand axe?
aggressively broke it with an axe or something.
Savan.
Savan.
Okay. So you carve through, and you watch as a large part kind of tears through before your hand axe stops, and you're like, I can't
stuck.
push anymore. And you try and pull back, and as you do, it kind of you pull your arm back, and it just gets ripped from your grasp, and it's now kind of stuck and folded, and your hand axe is now kind of
I'm gonna
wobbling in the
cut
web.
her hand axe out with my very gently cut her hand axe out with my radiant sword.
Okay. You begin to
'Cause he's
carve
got
around
the
it and
fire.
pull it out, and you eventually get it free, but now there's a cluster of webbing around it, almost like a.
Can he use the fire from his sword to burn it off?
It's just kind of wrapped around the center of it.
Like,
It's-
rub the
it's-
blade on it.
No, I could help you with
Don't.
that. Just put it on the ground and take 10 steps back away from it.
And then he'll blow.
Ting, 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 ting. The metal hits the ground and makes a bit of a sound, which
it's covered in webbing, so not as much sound.
no, but the metal still hits the ground. All right.
It is making
You watch
noises. We're
as
making
the flames
noises.
kind of burn around it and free it. It lights up the vicinity a little bit. There's that kind of wedge opening where you've cut in that webbing barrier, and behind it you can see the entire floor of the next portion appears to have some sort of webbing layer around it, and all the walls are covered in it. Across the way you can see what looks to be rungs. And
Oh.
the end of this portion of the drainage.
Where does
that
it
leads
go?
Up into where you can see the wind would be coming through.
I
And
would
that
check
bit of wind
where
that's
we
pushing
are
those
because
columns
I feel like
shift
someone could
is coming
know
from what you
and,
can
be
barely
doing
make
something.
out to be the faint bits of sunset light peeking through
Sunset.
Another exit, a sewage exit, well, just like the one that you came in.
What do the arrows say?
But you also see
mean, it
a
doesn't
number of
kinda
other
matter
figures
right
that are
now.
all webbed to the walls and encased within there.
All of the ones webbed to the walls are just as emaciated and dead.
Make a
as-
perception check.
like,
I was gonna say maybe he did say one of them. He did say one of the people wasn't
6.
like actually in.
You glance past in the distance. It's too hard to see, unfortunately, because the torchlight's
Encased?
too far away.
How close are we to those now?
Well, you're at the second web wall. That's about 25, 30 feet from you, so it's just beyond the torchlight of where you're standing.
And it's a dead end past all of this? Like, it's a dead end and just goes up?
It looks like it. It just goes through dead end, but it's all covered in webbing, and
Be around here somewhere,
Or
right?
it's behind us and it's.
I'm going to
waiting
start
till we
trying to
get
cut
another
down,
round.
behind us.
find the points of the web wall where it's being held together and cut any
okay.
of the.
Yeah, because of your right, you managed to carve through, and you watch as the second web wall kind of comes and folds to the end. The bodies that are encased in it hitting the ground with heavy thuds.
He said it went
You
off
see
to the
other
left, off
bodies
to the
that are
right.
walls
It's got to
around
be
the
at the
inside.
end
You
of the
can see end
tunnel,
this. It is just
right?
a
Or do we
giant
see the
web
end of the
nest.
tunnel?
Yeah, okay.
If we deem it safe, maybe someone could look at this other exit because probably something is
would.
down here with us, but mayhaps above the grate, this thing lives in a house, perhaps? I
That's-
don't know, I'm spitballing.
I'm wondering similar things.
Try and get
Or someone up
to
top
open
is
the hatch
helping
in case
it.
We need to beat a speedy retreat.
And that also. We could immediately escape. If we are
Okay.
fighting things and have sword
Right.
stuff, we could
The
easily
red
break a lock on a
small
grate.
thing. Yep.
Is it blocked and webby all along the route?
Well, as you walk past, the ground itself, it's sticky. You can still move, but you're
All right,
hindered.
you're
somewhat,
slightly
having to
hindered.
Pull through, and it kind of tugs at your feet, and you guys watch as webbing kind of tears and builds on the bottom of her boots as she walks in.
I stop walking.
Okay, you stop and look, and you can see there are all these. You can see the faint outline of bodies that are just kind of webbed to the wall.
So we got a lot more bodies as we go deeper. I mean, we're here pretty much.
On the far wall, you see what looks to be a large cluster of webbing. It looks like a mass of 3 or 4 bodies kind of jammed together. And you see one body that's right next to the where the rungs are. That is not as webbed as the others,
Is it moving?
and there is color to the skin.
There
You
is
see what looks to
somebody
be
alive.
elements of a humanoid face, a halfling. it looks to be, but halfling size. It is about a foot up off the ground, webbed to the wall. One arm is kind of drifting out.
Oh my God, is it someone we know?
And unconscious.
Probably not.
Is not gray and dead like the others. And that's where we're going to take a break.
Oh, so we don't get to see the thing.
I know. We'll come
I
back
thought
on
we
that.
might get to
Just because I
see
wanna make sure
what
we
it
go back through,
was.
including myself. I feel like a fucking racehorse. So yeah, we'll pick up on the reveal of this non-dead body.
Non-dead body confirmed. I mean, he said there was color in the skin and stuff,
All right.
but
So you're back here in a few minutes. First and foremost, we have our Wormwood giveaway. Which
Wormwood
we go through
giveaway.
Some of the stuff. So yeah, giveaways and laws are weird. I apologize for the heads up, but as part of this Wormwood giveaway, you need to be in the Twitch chat to participate. I apologize.
you have to be in the Twitch chat to participate.
If you couldn't tell. Right now the offer is only for residents of the United
Fans
States
of Deadwood.
and Canada,
We've
excluding
done
Quebec
Undeadwood.
because of
Unnet
laws.
Deadwood.
We're trying to figure out how to expand that, but that's where we are at the moment, so I apologize if you're not part of that. I'm so sorry. We have no way of getting around it. We're working on it. But for the official rules, you can follow the link in chat. It should be available to you. Tonight's prize is the Purple Heart Adventurer's Arsenal, which you may recognize as the wood that Scanlan had in the last campaign.
I went on Wormwood's
in case you hadn't
website
seen
to
it,
look at the
it's
tables and
Arsenal, it's
stuff,
a dice box,
and that would probably be
as
what
well
I'd go with. I told you guys, purple's my favorite
a
color.
great interior where you can keep your dice, your pen, minis, or erasers, anything else you want to keep in there. They're pretty badass. So yes, we'll have.
I dig it. That's probably the color I would get,
have
even
that.
though
The contest
it
is
would
officially started.
not
So all
match
you have to do
many
is go to Twitch
things.
chat.
I don't care.
Tonight's
It's my
code
favorite.
is sewers, the plural sewers. No.
That's doers.
Sewers.
But yes, that's the keyword. Only enter it once in chat, or because entering it more than once will disqualify you. But good luck, everyone. We'll announce the winner when we come back from the break.
Way to keep the
we'll be
rules
contacting
applied.
the winners after the break, so make sure you keep an eye on your whispers. But yeah, we'll see you guys back here in a few minutes.
In a few minutes. All right, guys, so there we go. There's Campaign 2, Episode 10, Part 2. We still haven't seen what it is yet. I have to assume it's a spider. Everyone else is assuming it's a spider. But maybe Matt's going to throw us a curveball. I don't think so at this point, though, because we have everything that points to spiders in the movies and TV. I don't read a whole lot of books, but if you've seen half the things I've seen, you've definitely seen. I could remember, I know killer clowns from outer space aren't spiders, but they're similarly wrapped up. So there's Matt's reference where he's like, there's other things that could do that kind of webbage, but I don't think it's the killer clowns from outer space. And they also use cotton candy. We also made cotton candy references either in this or the exclusive Patreon hour. Either way, though, there was an It reference made in the hour Patreon. There was other things going on. I didn't understand why they were bringing up clowns. In my head, I'm like, why bring up clowns? I don't know. Do the cast know the names of the episodes? Because if they did, then they would immediately think spiders, because the episode is called Webs and Waste. So we have the waste of the sewers and we have webs. We don't know if it's a spider yet. It isn't confirmed. Matt seems like he's trying to misdirect us, but I think it's just so that we don't lean to the obvious and just automatically assume it's a spider. What else could it be, though? It can't be killer clowns. Like I said, they were making references. I'm wondering if they know. They must know the names of the episodes, because why would they made the It reference? It also is sewers. Is there killer clowns? I will die if there's killer clowns, because what are the odds they'd make an It reference because of the sewers, and then in the sewers there are spiders or a giant spider with webbing and stuff like that? There are lots of bodies now. We see smaller ones and larger ones, so there are multiple rats that are being eaten and humans that are being eaten. It seems like there are more human bodies than there are rat bodies, though. We see there's a halfling who still has color in his face. Matt confirmed after the fact that he is alive, because I was going to think just because he's got color in his face doesn't necessarily mean he's alive. Maybe he's already turned and it like just happened. But Matt said he's alive. So we're going to have to inspect the body. We have lit webbing on fire. We have cut things up. We have fought an army of armored rats. And now I feel like the 2-hour live stream is going to immediately throw us into battle. I was thinking this entire time we're definitely going to see a layout. Matt's going to bring out a new layout with the tunnels. We're going to see a giant spider. I wanted to see the miniature of the size of the spider we're dealing with, how many we're dealing with. Is it one of those things where like there's a big mama spider and then hundreds of little babies come around and we're fighting like dozens of things? Or is it going to be one large spider, maybe a few babies? Everything I've ever seen most of the time, if not all of the time, has babies. Mist had thousands of babies. There are other scenes and things like that. The movie itself, it was a giant spider in the end of the old version. I mean, the new one too. Both of them, there were giant spiders and they would cocoon them up. And I mean, hey, I don't know what exactly is going to happen. Maybe Matt will throw us a curveball, but I've got to assume we're dealing with spiders. Liam is fired up. He said I could hold this for like 60 seconds. So he's kind of just throwing fireballs at that thing. I don't know if he's still doing that. We are possibly moving a bit. I'm not sure if Liam's still doing that, but I'm pretty sure he said I got 30 to 60 seconds where I could just go like poo 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 and pulse fireballs. We're about to go into full on battle. I'm assuming we'll be okay. We have Yasha now, which usually we don't, even though to replace Yasha the last time we did have Shakasta with an S, Shakaka. I always think Jocasta because of my name Jay, but it's Shakasta with an S. Basically, Shakasta is swiped with Yasha. Yasha is way more in tune, though, I feel like, at least at this point, with D&D, and I feel like she will come in handy, being as she's a freaking barbarian rage maniac, and I love the way she plays. I think we'll be all right, but we got to see what we're up against. We'll find out soon. You guys want to be way ahead, full unedited reactions to all the shows on the channel, seasons ahead of what you're seeing, hundreds of exclusives you only see on Patreon, the hour-long Patreon exclusive. New stuff is probably coming soon. I just got to get some things figured out with Vimeo and Patreon. Once I do, we'll figure out the rest. I got an email from Vimeo over the weekend that said I am exceeding my data every month and they're going to have to restructure a deal with me or something. So being as that has happened before I even started campaign 1 or anything new, I'll probably put that on hold for a bit, but we will do other things. We are going to have more stuff like this. Patreon link in front of me. If not, comments down below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.